dedicated track warm-up starts right now for the Rainbows. Rainbows get 10 minutes of dedicated time to warming up on the track starting right now. 1 minute until the Clovers take the track. 1 minute until the Clovers get their dedicated time for track warm-up. Welcome, everyone, to Sunshine City Roller Derby. We're about to get started here. First, we're going to let the refs go ahead and give the skaters a safety check. We can't have anyone out there with pads that are about to fall off or fail because roller derby is a full contact sport. Or with toe stops that will rip right through this floor here. While they do that, I'm going to introduce the awesome volunteers that help this happen. We have a number of amazing humans that come just to help this work. They're not even here to skate. They're here to just support roller derby. We appreciate you very much. Starting with the medics. Medic Maria over there in the bright yellow shirt. And right next to her, Lucas. Thank you so much for supporting us just out of the goodness of your heart. We also have an awesome reffing team. They're going to be putting up with the skaters yelling at them and telling them, I didn't get that penalty. So thank you so much for helping us out, refs. Starting off with the head ref, Marcia. Jam refs are TBD and Mike Check. They'll be making sure that those jammers really did score those points. The front pack ref is Carnage Asada. She's going to be making sure that people are actually staying together and hitting legally. The penalty trackers are Flinger and Jason Chaos. Penalty box administrators are Miss Hell and Miss Margaret. Outside pack ref is Kylo Ken. Game executioner keeping time is Shrugs. Shrug. Eyes in the sky are Buddha Fett and Rinkin Club. And our scoreboard operator is Codpiece. All right, those are your refs. Now, let's meet the teams, starting with the Rainbows in the white and rainbow shirts. Number 12, Han Solo. Number 17, Rat Cage. Number 18, Jerry Noble. Number 31, Vera Dreadful. Number 113, Voodoo Brawl. Number 407, Hurricane Twyla. Number 514, Chewbacca. Number 823, Beatrix Plotter. Number F15H, Godzilla. Captain of the Rainbows is number 369, Frankenfine. And their coach, number 111, Punisher. All right, that's your Rainbow team versus the Clovers. Let's meet them right now. Number 10, Sweating Bullets. Number 42, Anastasia. Number 80 proof, Whiskey Shot. I like that she forgot who she was. That was fantastic. Number 215, Gnarly Ray Jepsen. Number 333, Violet Venom. Number 404, Shameless. Number 768, Miracle. Number 831, Smack and Decker. Number 1942, Bambi's Revenge. Captain of the Clovers, number 87, Dolly Death Star. And their coach, number 90, Circuit Breaker. All right, that is the Clovers there. That's the Rainbows versus the Clovers here tonight at Sunshine City Roller Derby. We are about to get started. The refs are going to make everything good, make sure everything's good to go here. You're going to hear a 5-second warning, and then we are going to get started with a whistle. That whistle starts the first jam, which I will explain the basics of now. But don't worry, I will explain the rules as we go. If you don't know how roller derby works, that's okay. We'll learn together as we go. There are going to be 4 skaters from each team lining up in front. There's some lines over there. It's okay if you can't see them right now. You'll see them real clear as soon as they get into that box. Those are the blockers. Their job is to stop the jammer. The jammer will have a star on their helmet. Each team's going to field 1 jammer. That jammer with the star on their helmet is going to try and pass members of the other team. They get a point for passing members of the other team, but those members of the other team do not want to let them get by. They're allowed to smash into them as much as they like to prevent that. And so the action of roller derby ensues. A common strategy that you'll probably see is called a wall. So typically you take all 4 of your skaters, line up their butts, and prevent that jammer from getting by, take up the whole track, can't get by. Of course, that's a well-known strategy, so the other team might smash into the people in that wall and open it up. You'll see a lot more strategy than that, but those are the basics. I hope you understand well enough, but if not, I'll explain it as we go. Here we go. This jam's real. Jamming in green for the Clovers, it's Miracle versus Voodoo Brawl in white. Both jammers come hauling into the pack. Both get held up by an excellent wall by both sides, but Miracle finds a way to shake her way through that pack and manages to become a lead jammer for the first jam of our night. Has already made it around trying to make a scoring pass here and calls it off. All right, so just to explain a little bit of what you saw there. First, Miracle and Voodoo hit the wall. Miracle cut through the pack. She then was able to get around the track. Now, when she got through the pack that first time, she established lead jammer. The first time going through the pack, you don't get points. You're just establishing who controls the jam. After she got her way through the pack and scored her points, she moved her hands from her hips to her head over and over again. That ended the jam. You control the play clock when you are lead jammer. Jamming in green, Anastasia versus Cherry Noble in white for the Rainbows. Anastasia for the Clovers, lead jammer. And as a reminder, lead jammer means you control the play clock. Being able to control the play clock means you decide when you can score and when you can't. There you go. So just to explain that strategy, Slays got through, established lead jammer, scored her points, then called it off with that hip move where you take your hands up to your helmet, down to your hips over and over. And by doing that, she prevented Cherry from scoring those additional points that she was about to get, and that's how you make that point difference. All right, we're getting a penalty sorted. Only Rat King can score in this jam. It's a Rainbows Power Jam. In a Power Jam, only one team gets to field a jammer because the other team lost their jammer to a penalty in the previous jam. That star on the helmet in that penalty box means that the Rainbows get to just run this one out. Normally you have to play offense and defense. Not easy. One of the advantages of a power jam is the Rainbows get to go all offense right now. Of course, the Clovers get to play all defense. So both team strategies get a little more simple, but a lot more intense. Rat King taking lap after lap just like you want to do in a power jam, but the Clovers are also doing an excellent job of slowing her down. Miracle delivering a final parting blow before letting her go. If you're wondering why Miracle let up on the block up there, you cannot hit when you are further than 20 feet from the action. You have to keep everything within 20 feet on either side of the action. If you want to learn more about roller derby, then you ask. The center of the action is called the pack. It is 5 feet wide, and there's 20 feet on either end, so there's 45 feet in which you can hit. If you get outside of that, then you can't hit. It's a way of keeping the action tight and making sure that everyone's in a place where we can watch some fun roller derby. Anastasia back out there versus Voodoo Brawl. Anastasia, number 42 in green for the Clovers. Voodoo Brawl, number 113, jamming for the Rainbows in white. Anastasia up against an excellent tripod up there that the Rainbows have put together. Trying to race to the inside, gets pushed off the track to the inside and is forced to recycle, and that created some excellent confusion that Voodoo Brawl exploited and was able to establish the lead jammer for the Rainbows. As a reminder, these skaters score points by passing members of the other team. If you're curious about exactly how it's their hips passing the other teammates' hips or the other opponent's hips. Voodoo Brawl scores her points, calls it off with that tapping of the hips. That's exactly how you do it right there. Five points scored by the Rainbows, definitely helping the Rainbows quite a bit there. It is now 19 Rainbows, 10 Clovers. Exactly what you want. But still a very competitive game. Miracle versus Cherry Noble. Miracle pushing through that pack, but Cherry, looked like Cherry was going to take that lead jammer, but she cut the track, she reset, and Miracle makes the most of that pause and is gone. The lead jammer for the Clovers. You can hear the Rainbows coaches saying, "Go, go, go." Miracle sneaks by to the inside, very slick, calls it off before Cherry gets up to that pack. So once again, that was another great example of how calling it off can help you get an advantage. Miracle scored 4 points. She passed 4 people on the other team. Then she called it off because Cherry could have skated through the same pack and gotten the same 4 points. So by calling it off, your team gets the 4, the other team gets nothing, and you gain that little bit of an advantage. And there it is. They've eaten into that lead by just a little bit. The Rainbows still have their 19, but the Clovers are up to 14, tightening up that gap. That's exactly what you want to do. Anastasia jamming once again in green for the Clovers versus Rat King, number 17 in white, lead jammer for the Rainbows. A big hit clears 2 skaters almost into the revs. An excellent wall by the Clovers holds up Rat King, and then Rat King is forced to take the outside, a very challenging situation for a jammer. You basically never want to have to take that outside as a jammer as you take that turn because it's so easy to use your momentum against you. Rat King still making the most of that lead jammer situation. So I didn't want to explain it during the jam because I didn't want to give anybody an edge. Pretty sure I hear some awesome rooting on for Rat King. That's fantastic. I don't know if you saw Rat King's amazing crowned photo in the program, but it's really incredible. So I didn't want to explain it during the jam, but right there, if Rat King had gotten held up long enough, she might have been distracted and forget to call off the jam, and that could have really given the other team a huge edge. All right, it is currently 24 rainbows, 14 clovers, but not only that, we have a jammer in the box for the clovers. Only Voodoo Brawl can score in this jam. It is once again a Rainbows Power Jam. Once again, a Power Jam is when only one jammer is on the track. Why, you ask? Because in the previous jam, the opposing jammer committed a penalty. Penalties are not the best, but they're especially bad when you are the jammer because you end up losing for a full minute the ability to score, but also the ability to pressure that jammer to call it off. Normally, having that jammer coming up hot is enough to cause them to call it off. Maybe you only get 4 points, but in a power jam, you can just lap it out and see how many points you can score, and that is exactly what Voodoo Brawl is doing right now. It was 24-14, but this is almost certainly going to help the Rainbows. All right, that was actually an excellent defensive jam, power jam by the Clovers. Although Voodoo did score points, it wasn't as huge a score as we had in that previous power jam. 9 points, a very conservative power jam. Well done, Clovers. Well done, both teams. And unfortunately, Voodoo Brawl, I think, committed a back block there, and so that means that it is a back-to-back power jam. In this case, it is Anastasia, the only one who can score points in this jam. Anastasia already getting through the pack, did an excellent job of running it out there, got knocked to the inside, immediately recovered, came right back in, and took that ability to score points. But the white team is using a very wise strategy where you run it out. You basically try to get all the way up to the front of the action and stay as far forward as you can for as long as you can. And that has definitely worked. If you can just stay far enough forward like that, what you end up doing is forcing that jammer to just take lap after lap after lap. They never pass anybody. They never get any points. All right, in the meantime, the Clovers were able to grab a goat for a little bit there, and when they grabbed that goat, they were able to pull the action backwards and prevent it from proceeding anymore. And so that just briefly held up the pack, but that goat got out, and so Anastasia, in the end, 9 points as well, answering that previous power jam. Equal points, 9 points in the first power jam, 9 points in the second one. So it's almost like neither of them ever happened, but it was fun to watch, wasn't it? 33 Rainbows, 23 Clovers, a very tight match. Jamming for the first time in this bout, it's Shameless. Number 404 in green for the Clovers. Rat King gets away one-on-one with Miracle. Shakes off that one-on-one block. Very hard to block a jammer one-on-one. Almost never works out, but you can try. Everyone goes down. Everyone gets back up. Rat King fighting. An excellent wall there. Clovers using a really smart strategy there where you basically pin the jammer to the side of the track. You're not trying to knock them out of the track. You're trying to hold them right up against that line without knocking them out. That way they don't have any momentum. All they can do is kind of just wrestle with you and tire out. A tired jammer is a jammer that can't get any points. 5 points scored by the Rainbows there. 38-23. Rainbows have that edge. But Shameless taking a penalty as the jammer in the previous jam. Only Voodoo Brawl can score in this jam. It's a Rainbows Power Jam. And we're going to take a timeout. All right, while we get things sorted, I suspect this is a challenge. I'm not sure. I'm going to come around and see if there are any questions. Brett from St. Pete asks, at one point they were running away from the jammer in order to make that jammer just take lap after lap after lap, why wouldn't they just do that all the time? Well, if it's not a power jam, you have to remember that your jammer's trying to get through too. So if everyone just races away, then what's going to happen is no jammer catches anybody, and you may as well not even shown up today. You're just going to get 0 points for everybody. It's a fun race, and we can all go skate together later. I'm happy to join you. But it's not going to be a very interesting game. So typically what you do is you try and wall off the other team's jammer. If you're all moving like that too, although you might be able to get ahead, if they can catch you, they're probably getting through. It's very hard to play fast defense. Once you're at high speed like that, you're probably not blocking anybody. Now in a power jam, it's always a good strategy to get out ahead like that. But earlier I was explaining that you have to stay close to the action. There's 5 feet of action called the pack. If you get 20 feet ahead of that, you can't hit at all. So if you just race it out and race ahead and you get 20 feet away, well, now you're useless. The jammer can pass you, and you're not even allowed to hit them. If you do hit them anyway, you got a penalty, and you'll be sitting out the next jam and making it real easy for them to score points when there's no one left on that track in the next jam. Thank you for your question. All right, we are back in Voodoo Brawl, making the most of this jam. I don't know if that was a challenge, but if it was not successful. Shameless is sitting this out. This is a Rainbow's Power Jam. Clovers doing an amazing job of defense. That is really the story of this jam. You do not want a power jam like this if you're the Rainbows, but for the Clovers, this is exactly what you wanted. Excellent offense by Chewy. And then hugs afterwards. I love it. One of my favorite things about roller derby is, unlike other full contact sports, it is not about hitting to injure. It's about hitting for fun. You hit just hard enough to make that action happen, and you hug it out afterwards. Cherry Noble jamming in white for the Rainbows. Lead jammer Rainbows currently up 38-23. Miracle Duff fighting. Frankenfine just barely sneaks away to the inside. Very impressive. So sneaky. Cherry Noble looking for her opportunity. Shameless closes the door on her to the inside, and that forces Cherry to give up the game. So in that case, Cherry may or may not have known just how close Miracle was, but it was a safe guess she was close, and so she called it off because there may be a situation where the next thing that happens is she falls down or goes out of the track or whatever and can't call it off. So she called it off because she had lead jammer, just to prevent that opportunity of Miracle passing her and stealing lead jammer. Anastasia jamming once again in green, number 42, versus Rat King. You've seen him up before. Let's see this matchup now. Rat King dives between the other team's blockers and just barely gets away. And very impressive. Taking a lead jammer for the Rainbows. Both teams setting up their defense. Chewy leading that defense for the Rainbows. I'm actually going to correct myself there. That was really great offense by the Rainbows. They saw Rat King coming, and they were basically able to split the Clovers into 2 in front, 2 in back, and prevent any kind of wall from forming. A wall is a conventional defense in roller derby, and so if you can just prevent all 4 butts from lining up on the track, sometimes that can be enough. Clovers unfortunately taking a penalty there, and that is going to allow Voodoo Brawl to be the only one who can score in this jam. It's a Rainbow's Power Jam. Huge opportunity to score once again for the Rainbows. They are already up 43-23, and if Voodoo Brawl has anything to say about it, she is going to put more points on that scoreboard. But as a reminder, the Clovers were able to shut this down last time, so we'll see what happens here. All right, right now, what the Rainbows are doing are trying to take a goat. So remember, you have to stay within that zone of the action, right? The pack. So if you can just lock up one member of the other team who are trying to race away from you, you can prevent them from running it out at all. You control where the pack is, and that's why you want to trap a goat like that. So right now you can see Frankenfine, Chewie, and Han Solo, they're trying to lock up Gnarly Ray Jepsen, and by locking up Gnarly Ray, they prevent that white team from just running, that green team from just running it out. Five points scored by the Rainbows. Excellent defense during that power jam by the Clovers. We're going to take 5 minutes to take a quarter break here. That was the first quarter. I hope you're loving it. You're enjoying roller derby? Thank you so much for coming out and supporting us. You've got about 5 minutes to go and grab a beer, grab some food. Reminder, the beer's back there next to the door you came in on, and the kitchen's right next to it. And I'm going to come around and answer some questions. that was the end of the quarter break. Your next break will be halftime. But right now, jamming for the first time tonight, Bambi's Revenge. In green for the Clovers versus Cherry Noble. In white for the Rainbows. Bambi's Revenge coming out hot up against a 2-wall up there. Doing an excellent job of pushing on that wall. As a reminder, when I was explaining earlier, you have to stay close to the action. The reason she's pushing on that wall is she knows she doesn't need to throw a big hit to get away. All she has to do is push those skaters out far enough and they can't hit her anymore, and that is exactly what she was going for. A lead jammer, Bambi's Revenge in green for the Clovers. Cherry Noble steals it from her. Bambi's Revenge gets held up by some excellent blocking by Godzilla and Chewbacca, and that allowed Cherry to make use of that delay in the action to skitter on by, steal some points, and more importantly, steal control of the play clock. You control the jam when you're the lead jammer. There's that tapping on the hips. That calls off the jam, so Cherry scored those last points and then called it off before Bambi could score anymore. So this is one of the fun things about roller derby. You have to play offense and defense at the same time. You can see both teams getting points during that jam, making it 52 Rainbows, 27 Clovers. Jamming once again, number 404, Shameless for the Clovers. Once again, Rat King for the Rainbows. Shameless making it look like she's going to get lead jammer right away, but Frankenfine and Vera Dreadful just lock her up, and that means that Rat King has been able to steal lead jammer from the Clovers and already has an opportunity to score. As a reminder, bread and butter play of roller derby right there. You get through the pack. yet. She made a full lap around, and then every member she passed from then on, she's scoring a point. She's also getting points for anyone in the penalty box. So, in this case, every full lap she makes past everyone, she's getting 5 points. You got the 4 points for the blockers, and the 5th point is that missing jammer sitting out the penalty in the penalty box. One penalty against the Clovers, but not the jammer. Shouldn't hurt him too much. 5 points scored by the Rainbows in that jam, making it 66-27. Miracle Duff off the line, knocking Rat King off the track. Very slick jammer strategy. You don't see a lot of jammer hits out there. Miracle Duff gone. Rat King, lead jammer. If you're curious why you don't see more jammer hits off the line, it is very easy to get into a situation where the other jammer sees it coming, dodges, and now you go off the track and the jammer just takes off, and you end up with a huge disadvantage caused by your own choices. Worked out great for Miracle Duff that time. Knocked Rat King off, got through, but Rat King was able to make the most of the confusion that Miracle created. Very good strategy by Rat King there. It's hard to exploit that confusion because you don't know exactly what kind of confusion you're going to hit. But a good jammer can basically let that other jammer go and hit the pack. The whole pack reacts, and then you see a hole open up, and you sidewind your way through it. Miracle back out there to jam once again, back to back for the Clovers, this time against Voodoo Brawl. They both get out. Miracle goes for a jammer hit. Oh, it works. They both went down, but Miracle got up faster, basically. Very impressive. Miracle is lead jammer for now. If you're ever wondering, by the way, if I haven't told you who lead jammer is, you can tell who is lead jammer by which ref is pointing up in the sky and pointing at someone. That is always the lead jammer. When a ref is pointing in the sky and pointing at someone, they are always pointing at the lead jammer. That's the person who controls the game. They decide when the play ends. We have had multiple changes of lead jammer here, so these poor refs are working. Miracle Duff once again steals lead jammer position. I'll be honest, I'm glad the refs are here because I don't even know what happened there. That was amazing. I'm going to do my best to just read the scoreboard. See 4 points for the Clovers and 1 for Rainbows. I believe you. Sounds good. 71 Rainbows, 35 Clovers. Bambi's Revenge, jamming once again for the Clovers versus Jerry Noble. Both jammers take huge hits by that defense. Bambi's Revenge tries to get by on the inside. Chewbacca not having it at all. Jerry Noble, so sneaky. Jerry Noble takes lead jammer for the Rainbows by basically just sneaking to the outside. Everyone was looking for her on the in, and she got by. Very impressive. Comes up against an excellent four-wall by the Clovers. Cherry is wrenching on that wall, trying to create some separation. A lot of times when you hit a wall like that, you don't necessarily need to have it open laterally to the side. If you can just push one person far enough forward in that wall, you can create a gap kind of diagonally and then fire through it. And that's essentially what Cherry was trying to do there. A really hard-fought jam for those 3 points. Rainbows taking 3, Clovers none in that jam, making it a 74-35 and an official timeout. We had a question, how many jams are there? It's basically however many fit into the two halves. There's 4 quarters. We're currently in the second quarter. Jamming once again, Shameless, number 404 in green for the Clovers versus Rat King in white for the Rainbows. Jam has begun. If you're curious about time, we have less than 6 minutes left in the first half. We're going to take a nice break for halftime in 6 minutes. Be a great time to get another beer, go to the bathroom, whatever you need to do. Miracle Duff 1-on-1 with Rat King. Rat King breaks away a lead jammer for the Rainbows. Meanwhile, Shameless getting rocked back there by an excellent Rainbows defense. Shameless looking to cut through there, takes a nice hard push from a teammate. Unfortunately, that push knocked her down rather than knocking her through. That happens a lot in roller derby. All right, Shameless faked a pass, got through, pressured the jammer, and Rat King called it off. So that was a great example of how you can play defense with offense in roller derby. Since you both have a point scorer, a jammer, out at the same time, you have an opportunity to make it look like you're about to score some points. You get your jammer out, and just like that, looks like Rainbows are asking for a timeout. All right. Glenn from Vermont asks, after the jammer gets out, if the other team just sets up a wall and just completely walls things off, what is the jammer's team allowed to do? Are they allowed to hit him? Yes, they can. That's the action of roller derby. They can smash him up all they want. And in fact, that's exactly what they want to do. The best offense in roller derby is basically total chaos, because a jammer can't get through a wall. They can't even get through something that's kind of organized. But if it's a hot mess, you can skate through it. So you want to just make wreckage. Just knock everybody out of the way. Thanks for asking. All right, Shameless in the penalty box for the Clovers, unfortunately, meaning only Frankenfine can score in this jam. It's a Rainbows Power Jam. Also, Frankenfine's the first time jamming this evening. Smashes her way through. Excellent defense so far by the Clovers. Takes multiple skaters down and just keeps on going. Meanwhile, in the pack, the white team, the Rainbows, are trying to trap Miracle Duff. That is called a goat strategy. A goat. It's when you hold back that goat in a nice little pen. That allows you to decide where the action is, where the pack is. By controlling where the action is, you force the other team to stay right where you are. They can't go run it out. And when you can't run it out, you can't run away from that jammer and force them to take lap after lap. It's a great way to get more points in a power jam. And that worked there. 13 points scored by the Rainbows. Just kidding. 10 points scored by the Rainbows, 94-35. As a reminder, in a power jam, you're getting a point for everyone on the track and everyone in the penalty box. So 5 points per lap, because that jammer in the penalty box, you still get their point. That's true of all jams. Anyone in the penalty box, you get that free point. So as soon as you score any point, you get their point too. Cherry Noble jamming once again for the Rainbow's lead jammer. Bambi's Revenge up against Vera Dreadful and Han Solo. Not letting her through. Finds her way to the outside. Shakes off Rat King's defense and gone. Cherry Noble trying to find her points here. As a reminder, that first pass established lead jammer. The second pass was scoring points there. 1 point for every blocker. That's 4 total. Two minutes left in the first half. As a reminder, we will have a nice long halftime break. Sometimes we see people confused, thinking the game's over. It is not. It's just halftime. Get a whole second half of roller derby afterwards. And you have a great opportunity to grab a beer, some hard teas, or some wines over there as well. And we have food in the kitchen, burgers, nachos, and pretzels. All right, we are back in. Rat King jamming once again for the Rainbows. Miracle jamming once again for the Clovers. Almost skitters by to the inside past Chewy. All right, she was able to push everyone out of play. That was a great example. So Miracle was basically able to shed that hit by Chewbacca, run it out to the front, get 20 feet away from the action, and now no one could hit her. Gone. Huge opportunity to score for the Clovers right now. Once again, one-on-one with Chewy. Breaks away and gone. Still has lead jammer position. This is exactly where the Clovers want to be. Miracle looks back and watches Rat King approach that pack, doing her best to only call it off when she knows she's about to give up points. Oh, but yeah, so she waited a little bit too long, and so I believe Rat King was able to steal 1 point off of the back of that pack. So there you go. Calling off a little late can end up losing you a point or two. Miracle going back to back once again, this time against Voodoo Brawl. Miracle shoots for the middle, jukes to the outside, then back through the middle. That juke really worked. That was a perfectly executed juke. Meanwhile, Voodoo Brawl one-on-one with Bambi's Revenge. Bambi doing an incredible job of turning around on Voodoo. Skating backwards like that and blocking, much harder than it looks. Oh, another huge jammer on jammer hit from Miracle, becoming her signature move of the night. As I mentioned before, jammer on jammer hits are rare because if you miss, it is so easy to exploit. But so far, Miracle's luck has not run out. Spin move. I think everyone was confused by the end of that one. I'm pretty sure we had a call off there. All right, it is halftime. I'm just going to get these last points out to you. Nine points scored by the Clovers. That was the jam they needed right there. Rainbows stealing 4 off the back of that jam, though, making it 103 Rainbows, 48 Clovers as we go into this halftime. All right, we have beer over there at the bar. Just past it to the left, we have the kitchen open and ready for you with hot dogs, hamburgers, nachos, and pretzels. Go ahead and grab some food if you like. I'm going to come around and answer a few more questions. I'll see you soon. Ryan from St. Petersburg asks, when does the jammer actually score the point? That's a great question. Okay, so first the jammer races up to the pack. There's those members of the other team. They try to block them, try to prevent them from getting through. Eventually they get through. After they pass through the pack, they've established lead. Hello? Okay. They've established lead jammer. And so once they get around the pack again, now they have the ability to score points. So that first time through, just a fight to see who gets lead jammer. The second and every pass through after that, they score points. And they score them by their hips passing a member of the other team's hips. Anybody's. As long as they're wearing a different shirt, they get the point. Hips, hips. So that's why sometimes really good jammers, something I can't do, for their final point, you'll see them spin and get their hips out in front. Just the hips. Get that last point. Tony from here asks, what's the thing where they're bringing their hands up into the air and down and up into the air and down? That is calling off the jam. So the jammers, when they come off the line, they're both trying to get through the pack. Whoever gets out first, gets past all the members of the other team, they are now the lead jammer. Lead jammer has one superpower, the ability to call off the jam. They can bring their hands up to their helmet and down to their hips over and over again, and that allows them to enter the jam. Why would they do that? Well, if you're both about to pass through the pack and both get your 4 points, it's even the point of this. But if you're the lead jammer, you get your 4 points and call it off immediately right before that other jammer gets through. That little advantage becomes a huge advantage. You get those 4 points, other team gets nothing. You keep repeating that, you've won a game. Thanks for asking. Ashley from St. Pete says, I used to watch roller derby and they would throw people. What's that all about? All right, so a typical case where you would throw someone in roller derby is called a whip. We actually had a few whips in this bout already. So let's say that you're a blocker, you see that your jammer's coming up, and they don't have much chance of getting through, or they're probably going to get through, but they need a little more speed or that door's going to close. Those two butts are going to slam on them. You can grab them and just throw them on through and hope it works out. And we had a few of those already. In some cases, they just throw them to the ground, and it doesn't work at all, and that happened also. But sometimes it looks super cool, and they go right on through. So that's called a whip. There's a few kinds of whip. There's a kind of whip where you actually grab a hold of someone else and use their momentum. You throw yourself off of their hips. There's an arm one where you throw them yourself with your arms. And I don't know if we'll ever see one, but my favorite one is where you throw them in the air, which is called a Pegasus, but it's very dangerous. I don't know if we'll actually see it. Maybe someday. Thank you for asking. we are back in for the second half of Sunshine City Roller Derby. And just like that, we have a huge opportunity for the Clovers in green. Only Miracle Duff can score. It is the first Clovers Power Jam of the second half and the first jam of the half. This is going to be a huge opportunity for the Clovers. They are currently down 103 to 48. A power jam is exactly what they need right now. Miracle fighting. Excellent fight to try to get through that line. Oh! So she takes it to the outside, takes a hard hit, gets swept off the track, but resets quickly before White can decide what their next plan is. Leaves just a little bit of a gap in the middle. Miracle gone right through it. That is exactly what you want to do right there. Right now what Miracle's doing is she's trying to push White out of play. If she can just push far enough forward while Green hangs back there, then she can push all of those White blockers out of that area that I was talking about earlier, out of that action zone, the pack. If you can just push enough skaters out, what you're going to see is they'll put their arms up in the air to say, I'm not doing anything, because they don't want to get a penalty for hitting. 10 points scored by Miracle, 103 to 58. Cherry jamming once again for the Rainbows, but for the first time in this bout, Violet Venom spinning around with Cherry until she got dizzy. Great way to start the jam. Oh, a jammer hit off the line. All friendly until the whistle blows. Cherry looks like she might take that lead. Jammer takes a one-on-one hit from Bambi's Revenge, takes off lead jammer. Violet Venom almost got away to the inside. Takes a nice hard hit from Godzilla, but excellent offense by Bambi's Revenge. Bambi has trapped Godzilla back there. Very slick strategy. A lot of times when you have a blocker that's doing a great job of tearing up your jammer, you just trap that one blocker. You don't need everyone. And that can take away that advantage of that other team and get your jammer out, and that is exactly what Bambi did. That was very wise strategy there. Nonetheless, Cherry had that lead jammer position. Made her laps around the track. Let's see how many points she scored. Scoreboard will tell us in just a moment. What the refs are doing is they count up into the sky. Scoreboard types it into this little laptop program we have, and up it goes onto Marcia's television that she brought in from home. 1 point scored in that jam, 104 to 58. Rainbows are up. Rat King almost takes lead jammer. Miracle says absolutely not. In a 2-wall now with Dolly Death Star. 3-wall with Sweating Bullets. But excellent defense by Frankenfine opens that gate up wide. Frankenfine basically just took the entire wall and crushed it up against that inside line. And that is really what got Rat King out of there. Rat King goes for an apex jump. An apex jump is when the jammer is coming around the curve and sees that there's blockers to the inside. So you leap over the inside of the track. As long as you leave in bounds and land in bounds, it all counts. Great way to bypass that wall. Rat King remains lead jammer. Jam comes to an end on time. All right. Jams are technically 1 minute. You usually don't see that minute because someone calls it off beforehand, but in this case, we found out. 5 points scored by the Rainbows, making it 109 to 58. Clover starting strong in this half, but already dealing with the disadvantage of the previous half. A little bit of confusion out there, but there we are. Gnarly Ray Jepsen jamming for the first time in this bout for the Clovers in green, and Han Solo jamming for the first time for the Rainbows in white tonight. A brand new matchup. Let's see what they can do. Han Solo looked like she was going to sail through. Takes a parting hit from Bambi's Revenge. Bambi's Revenge trying to knock Han Solo out to the outside, but doesn't commit to the block. and Han Solo was able to just barely take the edges of her skates, dig in there, and not quite go out, and that allowed Han Solo to take a lead jammer rather than ending up getting stuck there. Huge opportunity to score for the Rainbows in white. Gnarly Ray Jepsen calls out the play to her skaters in green. The white team realizes they better call it before she hits that pack, and Han Solo does. 1-1-1 is the score for the Rainbows after those 2 points were scored to 58 Clovers. Miracle jamming once again for the Clovers in green versus Chewbacca, jamming for the first time in this bout for the Rainbows in white. Both teams hit the pack. Both teams getting locked up by excellent defense from both sides. Miracle exploits the confusion and cuts on through to the inside. Miracle takes a hip whip off of Smackendecker as she comes around and tries to make something happen. She hears those skates skidding from Chewie, knows it's coming, and calls off the jam. But nonetheless, she was able to get her hips past one skater and score 1 point. That 1 point makes it 111 to 59. Clovers just creeping their way up. Anastasia in green for the Clovers versus Rat King in white for the Rainbows. Excellent defense by both teams, slows them down, but Anastasia, lead jammer for the Clovers. This is exactly what the Clovers need right now. Anastasia at top speed on those wheels. Challenging that wall. Rat King steals the jam from her and calls it off. I think we all saw it, but I did not want to announce it because I didn't want to give it away. Sometimes that sneakiness can really help a jammer. All right, there it is. 5 for the Rainbows, 2 for the Clovers, making it 116 to 61. Miracle versus Voodoo. Both teams did great defense, but Miracle slices through and is gone. The lead jammer, Clovers. Once again, the Clovers are doing exactly what they need to do here. Oh, we're going to take a break. Looks like she'll be all right. That's good to see. Thank you so much, Menix, for taking care of our skaters. We greatly appreciate the fact that you show up to each of our bouts and just help us out like this, just out of the goodness of your hearts. jamming once again. In green for the Clovers, it's Gnarly Ray Jepsen versus Cherry Noble. Gnarly Ray Jepsen takes lead jammer, hits that defense, and gone. Anastasia and Whiskey Shot are locking up Cherry Noble back there. Violet Venom goes in for a hard hit as well. Bambi playing some O up there. Gnarly Ray watches Godzilla skate away. Calls off the jam early. Interesting strategy. I guess maybe she thought she wasn't going to get another pass through there. Already got her 4 points anyway. Why not? That's very impressive. I don't think I have that ability to count. So in that case, I believe what happened was Gnarly Ray was counting. So as you pass each member of the pack, you get a point for each skater. But it's not as simple as just passing the entire pack. You might pass one person, then they fall back. Pass another person, they fall back. You could pass all 4 people and still be behind the pack. And so in this case, that's what Gnarly Ray did. She's like, well, I already passed everybody. What's the point of fighting this out anymore? And she was gone. 4 points scored by the Clovers, 116-65. Frankenvine, a lead jammer for the Rainbows. She's up again. Get an arms penalty. That's basically punching somebody. No fist fighting, please. You also cannot throw an elbow. You'll know one happened when the refs tap their elbow and look at each other with shame. You can also not trip people. That's called a low block. No sweeping the leg. This isn't Karate Kid. We're back in. Miracle Duff jamming in green versus Rat King in white for the Rainbows. They both get out at the same time, and Rat King calls it off with a sliver between the jammers. No points are scored in a jammer race, but they're really fun to watch. Another penalty that you can get is a cut track. Cut track is usually committed by the jammer. It's very simple. You see a whole bunch of scary looking butts. You go, I don't want to hit those. I'll just leave and just go out of the track. You can't do that. You got to stay on the track when you pass those butts. And so that's called a cut track. You'll see a big X in the sky. The refs will put their arms up in the air in an X shape. That cut track is usually going to get you a power jam. Shoe Blocka jamming for the Rainbows. Once again, Gnarly Ray Jepsen takes off. Lead jammer in green for the Clovers. Gnarly Ray Jepsen just barely gets the points. Also just barely stays on his skates. Almost lost him there. Woo! I got fancy there for a moment. Glad everyone's all right. All right, calls off that jam. That's exactly what you want to do. That bread and butter play is how you win roller derby. She got 4 points. She got her full pass through, so she got her 4 points there, making it 84 for the Clovers. Of course, the Rainbows are still up 126 to 84, but at one point, the Rainbows looked like they were going to double Clover's score. So that was a really big jam for the Clovers, exactly what they need. If they can keep this up, they can still win this game. We are in the third quarter. We have less than 2 minutes left in the third quarter. After that, we'll have a fourth quarter, as expected, and then an after party. Come and join us, meet the skaters, grab them a drink, hang out, grab some food, and we can't wait to see you. But right now, I'm going to come around and answer questions. Jamming for the first time tonight, it's Godzilla in white for the Rainbows. She's up against Shameless in green for the Clovers. Godzilla, lead jammer, Rainbows. I think we've all seen it now. It's a jammer race. Oh, a jammer hit. Oh, just barely knocks Godzilla out, gets back in before it becomes a situation. Oh, a hard hit by Miracle Duff. A hard hit by Cherry. Wow. They are not letting these jammers have an easy one this jam. Woo! All right. Hope everyone's all right after that. Those hits were real. I don't know if any points were scored, but everyone fought hard and valiantly for that one. All right, unfortunately, there were a few penalties there for the Rainbows. All right, there it is. 3 points scored by the Clovers, none by the Rainbows, 126 to 87. And 2 skaters in the penalty box for the Rainbows, including the Jammer. Only Miracle Duff can score in this jam. It's a Clovers Power Jam. That's exactly what the Clovers need right now. Not only do they have a power jam with no opportunity to call it off or get pressured by that other jammer, there's also a blocker in the penalty box for the other team. That means they are skating light out there. Now, at the same time, the Rainbows aren't going to take it easy. In a situation like this, they're going to run what's called a power defense. You put your best blockers out there so that you can handle the awesome onslaught that is this power jam. But so far, Miracle doesn't care. She's just sailing on through. Vera Dreadful does a great job of hip checking her to the inside. Miracle jukes to the outside, throws Vera off, and that forces her to just skitter just a little bit to the right, and Miracle is gone. Miracle doing a spin move to get around Vera. Excellent offense by Anastasia. Ties up Han Solo and allows Miracle to sail on through for a final scoring pass. As a reminder, you get 5 points per lap in a power jam because you're passing the 4 members of the other team, including anyone in the penalty box. You get their points for free. So you have that jammer in the penalty box, you have a blocker in the penalty box, and you have the 3 blockers out there. Those add up to 5, so every lap, 5 points. All right, this is our final intermission. If you would like yourself a beer or a snack, now's the time to get it, because we're about to enter the 4th quarter in 5 minutes. As a reminder, we will still have beer and food available after the game at the after party right here at Largo Event Center. Thank you so much for joining us. It is currently 126 to 102. A huge jump ahead for the Clovers. They are looking close here. Oh, just kidding. It's 130 to 102 now. Still much tighter point difference than we had earlier. If you're loving us, we love you right back. We will have another bout right here on April 26th. April 26th, we'll have another bout here at Largo Event Center. And if you'd like to join us, our next recruitment night is this Monday, March 18th. This Monday, March 18th, come join us. We will teach you to skate from scratch, and you don't have to hit anybody. We won't hit you. We have a lot of people that learn to skate, and that's it. That's fine. We're cool and cash. But if you want to learn to hit and be a part of our bouts, we'd love to teach you that too. All right, I'm going to come around and answer questions in the next 3 minutes, and then we're going to be back in for the 4th quarter. I lied to you about the kitchen. It is already closed. I apologize for that. I did not realize they had closed it. So, kitchen is closed. Sorry about that. Brawl jamming in white for the Rainbows. And then for the first time, starting with the star on her helmet, Dolly Death Star. 130 to 102. A jammer race to start. Dolly Death Star takes lead jammer, sees Voodoo Brawl get out as well, goes to call it, calls it too late. Lead jammer already stolen by Voodoo. We are coming in hot in this fourth quarter. Voodoo Brawl comes into the pack, slams into it, goes down, tries to call it from the floor, and I don't know if they gave it to her. I think the refs are going to say, it's fine. We'll give it to her. We'll call it a 10. All right, they must have... They must have given it to her because they gave Voodoo the point and nothing for the Clovers. All right, 131 to 102. Violet Venom talking to the other jammer, Cherry Noble, before we start the jam. Violet Venom, lead jammer, has now jammed many times in this bout and already lead jammer. That is awesome. Cherry Noble fighting it out with some excellent defense by Anastasia. Bambi's Revenge and Whiskey Shot. Gnarly Ray Jepsen comes in from behind trying to both help Violet Venom and stop Cherry Noble at the same time. That is one of my favorite things about roller derby. It is very strategic. It's a lot of action, but you have to play offense and defense at the same time. That employs a very different set of strategies than you have in almost any other sport. It is not easy to figure out how you're going to move the line in a way where your jammer gets ahead and theirs doesn't go anywhere or even is worsened. A hit so rough we got ooze from the crowd as Violet Venom comes in for her final scoring pass. But it looks like it paid off. 10 huge points for the Clovers in that jam. 3 points for the Rainbows. As a reminder, both teams can score at any time. One of my favorite things about this game, 134 to 112, less than 13 minutes left in the entire game. And we have an official timeout. They're going to take a look at what was going on there. I see the refs talking it out real intense. While they do that, I'm going to answer a few questions. We are back in after that review, 133 to 112. Shameless looking to get through there, doesn't quite pull it off, gets hit hard by Voodoo, counterblocks her, takes them both down. Meanwhile, Rat King makes the most of it. Lead jammer for the Rainbows. Rat King just barely gets through that pack. Worse for wear, but keeps on going. Voodoo Brawl doing an incredible job of just hanging on to Shameless, holding her back there. Voodoo Brawl essentially getting into the gut of Shameless. That is a completely legal way to kind of hold someone with your body. You're not allowed to use those arms, not allowed to use your feet to trip, but you can use the core of your body to just lock somebody up. We have a number of skaters visiting us from Gainesville, Florida. Thank you so much, Gainesville Roller Rebels, for bringing some awesome skaters down there, doing great. We love having you every time. Another team that really shares our spirit. Voodoo Brawl jamming once again versus Bambi's Revenge. Both teams getting locked up by excellent defense. Bambi shoots for the middle. The entire pack shifts to the middle, opening up the inside. Voodoo Brawl exploits that momentary distraction and gone to the inside, making her lead jammer. All right, she knew. I didn't want to announce that it was a jammer race just in case she wasn't sure. It's hard to have eyes in the back of your head. When you're skating that fast and just trying to stay ahead, it's hard to notice that jammer behind you. And so, if I were to make the mistake of announcing it, I could end up giving away an advantage undue. But Voodoo knew the whole time. 3 points scored by the Rainbows. Bambi steals a point, making it 146 to 113. Oh, we got jammer competition before the jam even starts. This is completely legal, by the way. You are allowed to hit off the line. Miracle versus Cherry Noble. Venom doing an excellent job of falling small. The reason they duck and cover like that is if someone trips over you when you fall small like that, you won't get a penalty. If you sprawl out and someone trips over you, the penalty's on you for tripping people. Miracle, lead jammer, as you can tell both by that blinking red on the scoreboard and TBD pointing her out. Miracle comes in, hits hard on Rat King, jukes Frankenbein, and gone. Point scored. Miracle watching Cherry score points and keeps on going, decides why not. Oh, grand slam! That's when one jammer passes the jammer from the other team. You get that 5th bonus point. An excellent hit by Rat King. Miracle ducks and jukes it off. That's the way you do it. If you can get low enough in roller derby, you can do anything, maybe even fly. 146 to 113 before we get the points from the refs. And here we go. 4 for Rainbows, 9 for Clovers, making it 115 to 122. Less than 9 minutes left in the entire game, and we have a tight score. 150 to 122 is not much. And not only that, we have a jammer in the penalty box from the team that is currently in the lead, the Rainbows. Only Anastasia can score in this jam. It's a Clovers power jam. This is exactly the opportunity the Clovers need right now. 20-point power jam is on the table, but every second that ticks by, it slips away. So far, Rainbows, excellent defense, great offense by Whiskey Shot, and Miracle allowing Anastasia to get through. They basically just came up and held them back. Usually you think of hits in roller derby as knocking someone out to the side, but a lot of times just getting in front of them and pulling them back means they can't go race out and go chase that jammer down, and that is exactly what you saw there. Interesting block there right at the end, actually knocking that blocker into Slaves, but also knocking that blocker down. And so they basically came to a slide, and Slaves was still able to shed that block. When someone is going down right in front of you, it is really hard to shake that off. That is impressive skating. Basically, they're all up in your feet, exactly the only things that are keeping you upright. Very hard to do on skates. Impressive skating by both teams. Jamming once again, Voodoo Brawl versus Miracle. Voodoo sneaks away, jukes to the inside, and then uses that fake to open up the middle, cuts right through the middle, and gone. Lead jammer for the Rainbows. Currently 150 to 126. We've got Rat King and Gnarly Ray Jepson, both formerly of the Gainesville Roller Rebels, jamming it out here. Thank you so much for helping us out, guys. We love having you down. Gnarly Ray Jepson, impressive skating, shakes off a hit from the outside, shakes off a hit from the inside, just barely keeps on her skates and critically stays on the track. Just a centimeter further to the inside, she would have been out of bounds and cutting the track. Very impressive. All right, Gnarly Ray gets around Lee Jammer, hits the pack, looks to score some points, and then calls it off. Definitely a wise strategy. In this case, getting 1 point and ending it. That can win a game in a conventional situation. But right now, the Clovers need a little more than that. 153 to 127. Got an official review. Sophie from here, but also Boston, it's complicated, asked, what's going on with the jammer sometimes changing? Who is the lead jammer? Well, so first, the two jammers start in a typical jam, where it's not a power jam. The two jammers enter the pack. They start fighting. The pack is trying to hold them back, right? The members of the team are trying to prevent that. They're fighting for lead jammer. You've got that part already figured out. Well done. You're already way ahead of most people on roller derby. Now the complicated part. Let's say that one jammer gets out first. They establish lead jammer. If the other jammer sneaks on by and gets ahead of them, they steal lead jammer position. Typically, if you were to see them coming, you would just call it off. But either A, you don't have eyes in the back of your head, so you didn't notice. But the most common way is you hit the pack, you're busy fighting, you're not thinking about where that other jammer is, and they're gone, and you lose it. Thank you for asking. All right, we actually had a challenge during that timeout. They challenged the ref's call, and the challenge was upheld. Very slick challenge strategy there, team. I love that the Rainbows have their own official call before they go out. All right, 1 point scored by the Clovers. Currently 153 Rainbows, 127 Clovers. Anastasia versus Cherry Noble. Both teams getting locked up by excellent defense, but Cherry sneaks away to the outside. A lot of times on that turn, that outside will open up because it's so hard for a jammer to make it around. The chances of you getting by everybody, very low. So it'll just kind of open it up because why not? It's safe. But Cherry decided to take a risk, shoot on up that outside, and it worked. She became lead jammer, but all right, and regained lead jammer, got through the pack and got her points and called it off. Let's see how many she got. Depends on what we see off the hands of the refs there. Oh, complicated jam. 5 points scored by the Rainbows, but 2 by the Clovers. Very slick move by the Clovers. So, not the best situation for the Clovers, but better than taking 5-0 there. 158 to 129. Shameless jamming once again for the Clovers. versus Voodoo Brawl. Voodoo Brawl takes off lead jammer for the Rainbows. Shameless. Fighting her way through. Clovers are taking a goat there with Codzilla. Doesn't quite work out. Codzilla fights her way out of the pen. Rainbow's taking the front. That is so in that case, the Rainbows took the front. So you had 4 Clovers in the back. You had 4 Rainbows in the front. Typically, the reason you would take the front is either to run a play where you're going to all hit the brakes at once and try and make a mess of that line behind you, or to try to prevent yourself from being a point when that other jammer's coming through. So you see your jammer come through, they get their points, and then you try and make sure they have their time to score, but not enough time to get to you. Rat King jamming once again for the Rainbows. Gnarly Ray Jepsen jamming once again for the Clovers. This pack is a hot mess. Wow. Both jammers doing a great job of keeping their skates despite the fact that there are a lot of hard hits on this track. As a reminder, so far, no one's gotten out, and it has been a tough fight the whole time. Bambi's Revenge at the front of the defense up there, but has to give up the block before she gets pushed out of play, making Rat King lead jammer for the Rainbows. Gnarly Ray Jepsen still fighting it out there for the Clovers. Huge hits by both teams. Both jammers go flying into the crowd. And there you go. Then it's all high fives and happiness. I love that about roller derby. People can work so hard, fight so hard, and then we're all buddies. We're all just here to have fun. We all got jobs in the morning. Miracle Dove versus Cherry Noble. Miracle smashing her way through, slicing her way through the Rainbows, takes off lead jammer Clovers. This is a huge opportunity to score for the Clovers, and as a reminder, if she can also pass Cherry, she will get a 5th bonus point, the Grand Slam, for passing that other team's jammer. And there it is, 5 points on that lap. She's done it. Excellent defense in the back there by the Clovers, holding Cherry up, who is now trying to become a blocker, and it worked. Did a great job of forcing Miracle Duff into a turnaround toe stop, skid out and start back up. Although it may look like Miracle just kept on going, it takes a lot of energy out of a jammer to do that, and a tired jammer can't score any points. Miracle, not looking any more tired, takes a spin move to end that jam. Excellent jam for the Clovers. It was 166 to 129, but it is now 166 to 139. 10 huge points scored by the Clovers. 2 Grand Slams. Nothing for the Rainbows. That's exactly what the Clovers need right now. Voodoo Brawl versus Anastasia. Anastasia comes in hitting hard to that pack. The pack all goes down, gets back up, and as they do, they release a little too much space to the inside. That allows Voodoo Brawl to take off and be gone. I think we had an equipment failure there. I'm not sure. But it sure looks like someone's skate is not well. Oh, yep, there it is. Part of someone's skate just left, just gone. So you're going to need a whole skate. You're going to want the whole thing. All right. Although the game clock is ticked down, we're going to do one more jam here because that was kind of a hot mess. Meanwhile, poor Rat King is trying to reassemble her skate in real time. Very impressive. Voodoo Brawl jamming once again for the Rainbows. Anastasia basically slides on one wheel. Takes lead jammer for a half second. Voodoo Brawl makes the most of the confusion and gone. The lead jammer for the Rainbows. Voodoo Brawl moving so fast, she's dragging the track with her hands just to keep traction as she takes the turns. This floor is deceiving. Wow. Some hard pinball played with Voodoo there. Getting knocked from behind and the front. Keeps on going. All right, important detail about roller derby. Because the penalties are served in the next jam, the winning team cannot win if they have committed a penalty and the opposing team did not commit a penalty, because it would be too easy to just put it all on the line, hurt the other team, and win. So it's the unofficial score, because although the Rainbows got 5 points, if they did it with a penalty and the Clovers had no penalties, all right, it was a clean jam. No penalty by the Rainbows means they have won 171 to 139. Congratulations to the Rainbows. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming, and we are going to keep hanging out for the after party. Come and buy them a beer. In the meantime, you can go into the middle right now. Give them a high five. It's all love and roller derby. Both teams taking their victory lap. And again, if you want a high five, go ahead and head into the middle. And then we're going to take some photos. So if you want to take some photos with the team, you have an opportunity to do so. And we're going to have the after party start right now. All right, both teams choose most valuable players from the other team. They vote on it and decide in real time. Let me let you know who won most valuable blocker for the Clovers in green. It's Dolly Deathstar. Most valuable jammer for the Clovers in green, it's Gnarly Ray Jepson. And again, as voted on by members of the other team, most valuable blocker on the winning team, the Rainbows, Chew Blocker. And most valuable jammer, number 17, Rat King. Come on out and receive your ridiculous rewards. I love the Rat King cheering squad. You guys are amazing. All right, hang out with us. Grab a beer. Grab these skaters beer. They worked hard for you, and I'll come around and keep answering questions. I love that you guys are still asking me questions after the bout. I'm happy to answer as many as you want to ask.